Okay, it's still July 2025. I'm talking on a microphone that I ordered off of Amazon that makes me sound like I am calling it on a telephone, which kind of reminds me of the way that the Arthur Schwartz Food Maven podcast sounds, which is a huge inspiration for what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go with it. I realize that the volume, I might need to adjust the volume because it's a lot louder than my previous episodes. Okay, a couple things right off the top that I want to mention. We got news earlier this month that Denise Richards um, spends $25,000 a month on food. And I made a TikTok video asking people what was going on. A lot of people said alcohol, private chefs, catering, throwing parties. I guess that makes sense. The article said food alone, and I thought, how? And and maybe she's just ordering lavish catering for all of her closest friends. So I think mystery solved, and we can move on with our lives. Thank you to the woman who commented on my TikTok video. Why do you care? It was a great question. Okay, so going back to my food log, again, I've been keeping this food log since 2020 to see how my food habits have changed over the years, especially in and during the pandemic, and now when we're still, COVID's still here, so who knows what's happening. But the point is, I've started doing archival episodes. I even did a celebrity food log episode to talk about other people's eating habits. I'm a little more inspired to talk about how I'm making the food and why I'm making what I'm making, to utilize things I have in my fridge or what's in season. We're just going to see what happens. Okay. So July 21st, 2025, it's a Monday. 6:30 a.m. Leftover coffee with half and half and bran flakes with milk. 9:30 a.m. Leftover dauphinoise and a cup of coffee with half and half at UNC Press. 2:30 p.m. A strawberry grain bar. 4:30 p.m. A handful of mini M&Ms. 6 p.m. Tofu, cabbage, and green bell pepper with leftover kung pao sauce and leftover rice made at home. 8 p.m. Bluebell cookies and cream ice cream. Okay, nothing interesting is happening here. Let's talk about my coffee situation though, because that has changed. So for the last 8 or so years, I've been using a pour over. I've been using I never had the Chemex, but I had a knockoff. I've had a few different knockoff Chemexes, just as good. I think the most recent brand that I had was a Bodum, and I would get a stainless steel filter, so I didn't have to buy filters all the time. As you know, Prime Day was earlier this month, which has turned into Prime Days. And although I don't have a Prime account myself, I've connected to somebody who does. So I ordered, and I have a list. Okay, so first of all, I have a list on my phone of things that I want. And it's like 10 items, and they're so random. And they're not that expensive, but it feels like they're gift items, and I shouldn't just be buying myself gifts all the time. Anyway, one of them is a Moccamaster, and they retail for like $350, so it's not something I'm just going to buy on a Tuesday. Except that's exactly what I did this month because I got it for 50% off. It was the color. I chose a white color. I think it was an off-white, and for some reason that was deeply discounted. And which is weird because at least 4 4 or 5 years ago, white was the color of anything to have in your kitchen. And I almost think this was a reaction to the pandemic in the same way that white subway tiles in your kitchen or in your home were a reaction to the Spanish flu, because it was easy to clean. It was it was sterile, and people still use the subway tile to feel clean, to make it look like they have a clean environment. And that white subway tile, white in your kitchen, white everywhere makes you feel clean. Why doesn't anybody want white anymore? Anyway, I got it for 50% off. It does have a chip on the hot plate, and by the time I tried to get a replacement, they had sold out of the deeply discounted color that I got. So I'm just sticking with it. So the Moccamaster, part of the reason why I wanted it was because I thought it would save me time instead of standing, waiting for my electric kettle to warm up and then standing there and pouring the hot water over my coffee like I'm the machine when I could be putting dishes away or whatever. I thought this would save me so much time. What I've realized is that the Moccamaster has so many more parts to clean than a pour over. So I'm actually spending probably just as much time per day dealing with my coffee apparatus. I'm just cleaning the pot and the different pieces at the end of the day now instead. It is nice that there is a hot plate, a warming plate. I'm always a little bit shocked when I pour my second cup of coffee and it's still hot. The one complaint that Brian has is that it's so expensive, but it doesn't even let you set a timer or a program to have your coffee made. You set it and you wake up and the coffee's made. Maybe that's a safety feature. I think maybe they're getting rid of that feature because it's dangerous. I don't know. But, okay, here's my other complaint. I got the machine. It's fairly heavy, but there's so much of it is black plastic. And we have to assume that it's food grade plastic. I think I looked it up and it's technically food grade plastic, but what does that mean? And I can't believe I didn't notice this before I bought it, because I avoid black plastic in my food utensils and anything. And now I'm drinking coffee out of a black plastic latent coffee machine. So I'm keeping my pour over setup, but the Moccamaster overall is pretty nice. And I will say that the overall taste of the coffee is smoother and more uniform. It's a little more gas station or bank waiting lobby. Okay, so speaking of which, let me take a sip of my coffee. Okay, so again, I'm eating lunch at 9:30 a.m. in my office, leftover dauphinoise. And yeah, I'm not going to say much else about that day. July 22nd, 2025, it's a Tuesday. 8 a.m. Brooklyn Lab coffee with half and half made by Brian, and chive and shallot flavored Borson with multigrain crackers. 12:30 p.m. 2 sunny eggs with leftover rice with chives and jalapeno truffle sauce made at home. 6 p.m. Eggplant parmesan with mozzarella made at home. 7:30 p.m. Bluebell cookies and cream ice cream and a hunk of dill Havarti cheese. Wow, eating a hunk of cheese at night is very my dad. When Borson is on sale, I will buy it. I don't know if you've noticed, it's so expensive. when I'm eating it, I think I could just buy goat cheese and whip it, and that would be what I'm eating. But there's something about it that is just so delightful, and it just melts in your mouth. This jalapeno truffle sauce that I put over my eggs and rice is something that I got for Christmas. I don't know the brand, but it's very oil based and you have to shake it, which I did not do the first time I used it and just poured oil over my food. It's pretty good. I think that the truffleness makes it feel a little bit dated, and the cap is bejeweled. It's not bejeweled, but it's the shape of a cut jewel, and it's very large, and it reminds me of like a Juicy Couture perfume bottle from 2008. It's very strange. 2008 would be too late for that. 2006, 2005. Um, Eggplant parmesan with mozzarella made at home. So I have all this Turkish eggplant. I still have Turkish eggplant. I think I'm going to make eggplant parm again. They're nice and long, but not too skinny like the Japanese eggplant. They're somewhere in the middle of the Italian and the Japanese. Cut them into planks. Um, well, they're so long that you can cut them in half and then still get nice flat pieces out of them. I didn't peel it, but I did cut off the sides so that they're flat. Salted them and let them sit in a colander for a few hours. And then I did flour, egg, breadcrumbs. And last summer when I was making eggplant parm, I was doing panko, but I have all this really fine Italian breadcrumb that I need to use up, so I'm using that. It's, what's that brand? But it has the, it's seasoned. It has parm, and it's not parm, but the other cheese. And in the egg mixture, I put a little bit of mayonnaise, a little bit of water, a little bit of mustard. They're all stabilizers, and you mix it together, adds flavor. And I fried them off, put them on a sheet tray with a grate to drain. And then when I was ready to put them in the oven, I didn't think about this. I wanted to get the block, the low moisture block, whole fat block of mozzarella, but I just had fresh mozz. So I peeled it off. It was a little watery. Then I put it onto the broiler in the oven. Let the mozz melt over the parm. Well, the eggplant parm. I guess the parm is in the breadcrumbs. And Romano cheese, that's what I was thinking of. Romano cheese and parsley is what the breadcrumbs are flavored with, I believe. Take it out of the oven. There's a little bit too much water on a few of them, but it didn't really reduce the crispiness. And then I had some sauce on the back burner. Our tomatoes are really coming in, and I'm just trying to make large batches of sauce, and I spooned some sauce over it and served it with some basil. Heated up some sauce I'd made before and with a bunch of basil. And yeah, when I was frying them, they puffed up and there was so much air in them. They looked like, what did they look like? They look like knishes. They're just like a perfect brown package that was puffed up. July 23rd, 2025, Wednesday, 6:30 a.m. Brooklyn Lab coffee with half and half made at home and bran flakes with milk. 9:30 a.m. Leftover eggplant parmesan and a cup of coffee with half and half at UNC Press. 6 p.m. A shredded chicken burrito and chips with salsa and guacamole from Cosmic Cantina in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Okay. The eggplant parm held up well for work. Put the eggplant parm in a Tupperware separately from the sauce. And then right before you microwave it, you pour the sauce over the eggplant, microwave it together, and eat it with a fork and knife at work at 9:30 in the morning. So Ozzy Osbourne had died the day before, and I've never really understood people who throw themselves against a wall and throw themselves against a wall when a celebrity dies. I always thought you're acting. You want me to know that you know who this celebrity is because you want it's a character reflection of you. It's an act. I never really understood it. And I still don't. But when I heard that Ozzy Osbourne died, my mom texted me, Ozzy Osbourne died. I was shocked. I mean, who, no, should not be shocked. I mean, he outlived, for his lifestyle, he lived a long time. But I'm going to take a sip of coffee. I think that, I don't know. I don't know why. And I'm not, I mean, I have liked metal in my past very much. Never was a huge Ozzy fan. I think their first album is good, the first Black Sabbath album. But I think it was growing up with the Osbourne show that it was like one of the first reality shows that I watched with my mom. And it felt like a new, I mean, they were giving you the inside life of someone's home. It was intimate and you felt like you sort of knew them. It was like you were staying in their house. And it was newlyweds. I don't think I'm going to be that sad when Jessica Simpson dies, but or Nick Lachey. Something about Ozzy though was so sad. I don't know what it was, and it just bummed me out. Um, so if you've watched Osbourne's, the Osbournes, you know that his favorite food is a burrito. So I decided to get a burrito the next day for dinner. Got one for Brian. Um, in the show, Ozzy goes to Chipotle, but that was the era when Chipotle was just becoming popular, and it was actually still pretty good. Cosmic Cantina is where I ended up going. So Cosmic Cantina is the original location is in Durham, and it's where students go. It's where Duke students go and get burritos late at night till 4 in the morning. And it's off of 9th Street. You walk, it's in the side, they don't have a storefront. It's kind of a hidden door on the side of a building, and you have to know where it is. And you walk up these stairs, and there's graffiti all over the place and other weird businesses. And it's sort of a hole in the wall, but they have a back deck you can sit on. And they have these giant $30 burritos, but you can get something more modest. And it's just a good college town burrito, I would say. It's not it's not as good as what you're going to get on the West Coast. It's not as good as what you're going to get from a woman standing under the 7 train at 4 in the morning in New York with her cart making you a burrito right there. I mean, that's the best burrito experience I think I've ever had. Um, but it's decent. It's a step above Chipotle. And their salsa's garbage. I think they fry their own chips. I don't know. But yeah, Cosmic Cantina. It's lowbrow and it's fun, and I would recommend it. So they have a Chapel Hill location that they opened because Chapel Hill is also a college town, UNC. But it doesn't have the same feel. It's in a storefront. They have like a little patio. You can sit at tables outside. It's nicer. The one in Durham looks like it's failed every health inspection they've ever had. The one in Chapel Hill looks like they've passed every health inspection. Different vibe. The vibe is off, but it's the same burrito. July 24th, 2025. It's Thursday. 8 a.m. Brooklyn Lab coffee with half and half made at home. 10 a.m. Sicilian olive oil toasted sourdough with shallot and chive boursin made at home. 2:30 p.m. Bluebell cookies and cream ice cream. 6 p.m. Potatoes and a tomato and cream curry with raw onion and green chilies over jasmine rice made at home. I do have a giant bag of basmati rice, but I feel like I can't open it because I just opened my huge bag of jasmine rice that I need to get through first. I can't have two huge open bags of rice waiting to be attacked by insects. I can barely, I have to distribute them into all these containers and I can barely fit them in my house anymore. So I'm making, Indian, Middle Eastern curries and eating it with jasmine rice. And it's not ideal, but I'm sacrificing. The Sicilian olive oil I got on sale at Whole Foods a while ago, and I'll buy anytime. Well, that's not true. Anytime that there's a decent olive oil sale at Whole Foods and I have a space in my cabinet for another bottle, I'll grab it. So I have really nice olive oil that is going to expire soon. So I'm trying to use it up for everyday cookings. So I have the Sicilian olive oil that I need to use up. I started buying the really large metal tubs of olive oil that they have. And I'm starting to get low on it. It's so affordable. I mean, especially because olive oil prices went up, last summer? And yeah, I'm trying to not have my grocery bill just be subject to the whims of the market. And I went back to go get another one, and it's like a third of the size. It's a joke. Okay. Potato and tomato curry. I'm just trying to use up our potatoes and tomatoes. And really, I cannot eat a curry without some raw onion. Really thinly sliced raw onion over the top. And 2:30 p.m. eating cookies and cream ice cream for lunch. I think it's okay. My grandmother used to eat ice cream sundaes for lunch in the summer from McDonald's. She told me it was okay. She's still alive. She's in her mid to late 90s. I think it's okay. I think actually it's better for me than eating it late at night because, I think, oh, I have to wait all day to eat ice cream and that's all I can think about. And then I can finally sit down and eat it at 7:30, 8 p.m., go to bed at 9, and I wake up the next morning feeling like I'm hungover because I just ate a bowl of ice cream. My body can process it at 2:30 p.m. July 25th, 2025. It's a Friday. Leftover coffee with half and half. 9:30 a.m. Leftover potato curry and jasmine rice. 2 p.m. A bowl of Bluebell cookies and cream ice cream. 6 p.m. Sicilian olive oil toasted Italian bread with sesame seeds from Ideals in Durham, North Carolina. Boxcar Cotton Bell cheese, Jasper Hill Farm Moses Sleeper, Herve Monton de Savoie, pickled cauliflower, marinated gigante beans, marinated mushrooms, Calabrian salami, striped German tomato, mixed olives stuffed with feta, blue cheese, and jalapeno, made at home, and a can of Rodenbach Belgian sour ale. Okay. That's a lot. So I went to Whole Foods after work on Wednesday and I just wanted some olives. And while I was next to the olive bar, I saw that they were having some decent cheese sales. They put that 50% off sticker on things sometimes. Almost all of their brie varieties were 50% off. Same, you have to pledge to them that you'll eat it that day or throw it away. I always either do that or freeze it. But with the brie, I found I've done it enough that you can, I bought this on Wednesday and I ate it on Friday and it was good. So let's start at the beginning. There's a place in Durham called Ideals that is a fantastic sandwich shop. It's a couple of Northerners, a couple of guys from New York who moved down here randomly, ran into each other. They were old friends, didn't know they both had moved down here and started a sandwich shop together that to recreate the sandwiches from New York that they missed. And they make all their own bread. They make focaccia. They make the seeded rolls. They make English muffins. Um, it's just great. And actually, before I moved here, I found out about them. I emailed them and said, "Can I work? I'm moving to the Durham area. Can I work for you?" They said, sent my resume. They said, "Yes, come on in. Let us know when you're here." Um, I don't know why I didn't end up working for them. I ended up interviewing at a couple other places and taking a farm job. But I sort of regret because it is such a fantastic place. And you walk in, and I mean, first of all, you can't walk in. There's a line. You have to get there at 11 a.m. They're only open from noon to 3. They usually sell out before 3. It's like a good barbecue place. They're only open a few hours a day. That's how you know it's good. They only do one thing, sandwiches. And when you're in there waiting to pay, they have all these imported products from Italy, canned fish and canned mussels and wine and, a whole refrigerated section with guanciale and, day olds and frozen whatever. I mean, it's a really, if you have some money to drop and you want to go to there aren't a lot of nice Italian specialty stores in the area. And I'm from Connecticut, which has the largest Italian population in the country. I'm used to being around it. I'm used to having access to Italian products at any moment in my life. Moving down here has been a little bit of an eye opener of the lack of Italian representation, and I can't get Italian products. This sort of answers that. And it's expensive, but it is what it is. Also, the local Italian importers, they import some pretty good stuff. I think Piedmont wine is what they're called, which makes sense. We're in the Piedmont. They're importing stuff from the Piedmont, Italy. I like that connection. But the wine that is really good, I don't know what it is. It must be whoever's locally importing. The Basque wine selection in this area is great, and that's usually what I end up buying. Not at Ideals, they don't have the Basque wine, but wine authorities, they have a place in Durham, they have a place in Raleigh. They carry a really great selection of single origin wine, including Basque wine. Okay, so wow, this is a long story. So Brian went to Ideals one day when he was working. He was in Durham, he went to Ideals, got a sandwich. I mean, I could just talk about Ideals for an entire episode, but you just got to go. You got to they have an eggplant and ricotta sandwich that's divine. They have an a chicken cutlet sandwich. They do the porchetta and broccoli rabe. They do, I mean, I've never tried their breakfast sandwiches on an English muffin. I've had their English muffins though. You can get them frozen. So anyway, Teams notification. They will sell their day old bread in the freezer. So Brian brought home some, the long Italian bread, the seeded submarine roll. I don't know what the proper term is. and he brought home two of them. And so in the back of my head, I thought, if there's an opportunity to buy some nice meat somewhere, some nice cheese somewhere, I have these nice rolls from my deals in my freezer. I need to use them, pick up something. So this was my opportunity at Whole Foods to pick up something. I also got some really nice butter that was on sale. It's this, I think it's a cultured butter with herbs and garlic. Forget. I'll eat it sometime and talk about it. Anyway, so we got the Boxcar Cotton Bell cheese. That's a local place, Boxcar. They're actually near where Brian works, and they have sheep. I think they have goats. I think maybe they utilize neighbor sheep, but it's very expensive. It's a brother and a sister, um, and they make really nice cheese. Um, when Brian used to work at the farmer's market, you know, the cheese place, after the cheese was sitting out all day at the farmer's market, they couldn't resell it, so they would give it away. So the first year or two that we lived here, we always had 3 or 4 blocks of boxcar cheese in our fridge, and we were, it was like $40, $40 to $50 worth of cheese in our fridge at any time, and it's really good cheese. So I was lucky to get that on sale. I miss having that around. The Jasper Hill Farm Moses Sleeper was probably my favorite. It's from Vermont. It was very buttery. This pickled cauliflower I made when our cauliflower came in. I put one chili de arbol in there, and it's so spicy, but it's great. Marinated gigante beans are probably my favorite thing at the Olive Bar. That and the cured black olives. If you grew up in the north and ever went to Bertucci's, they would bring out pizza with one single cured olive in the center, and I would always eat it. I thank God I didn't come from a family who would fight over it, because I would have killed somebody. I love those cured black olives that are pitted. Well, most of the time they're pitted. The marinated mushroom, I love marinated mushrooms. This Calabrian salami was on sale. It was okay. It was a little bit. It tasted like the way that a horse smells, if that makes sense. And Brian loves that, so he ate most of that. But that is not what I want out of eating. I don't want it to taste manure or farmy or gamey. The other option that was on sale at Whole Foods was this summer salami with peppercorns, and maybe I should have gotten that. Anyway, striped German tomato is one that we grew, cut it up with some salt, heavy salt, and these mixed olives stuffed with feta, blue cheese, and jalapeno. Individually stuffed. Some were jalapeno, some were. And then I had a can of Rodenbach Belgian Sour Ale, which is apparently the original Belgian sour ale. I did not know that. Usually, I'm so used to drinking a Belgian, like red sour, in a bottle. I'm thinking of, is Petrus? When I worked at Punch House in Chicago, the most expensive beer on our menu was the Petrus. And it was so nice and tart, and in this little bottle. It's really hard to find, but this Rodenbach was a really nice replacement, and it came in a tall can, which kind of threw me off, but the can does preserve it. I will say that. It was nice. It was maybe it was like a touch syrupy, but overall, really great thing to have with all the cheese. And yeah, that was a lot of food. I'll do this every so often. I mean, why not? Especially when things are on sale and it's easy and it's a Friday night. Why not? We did this on New Year's for the first. We usually anyway. Um, what was I gonna say? I'll move on. July 26, 2025. It's a Saturday. 8 a.m. Brooklyn Lab coffee with half and half, and fried rice with scrambled eggs, onion, cabbage, and jalapeno made at home. 12 p.m. Annie's macaroni and cheese with peas and parmesan made at home. Marinated gigante beans and mushrooms and cured black olives. 2 p.m. A bowl of Bluebell homemade in the shade ice cream. 5 p.m. Chicken salad with chives and romaine lettuce on an olive oil toasted slice of sourdough bread made at home. Okay. I love to make a fried rice with the leftover rice, with scrambled eggs, super orange from the yolks. Annie's macaroni and cheese is always on sale at my Food Lion, so I'll buy it. I'll buy a couple boxes at a time, but I don't really go through it because I don't know if they've changed it, but it sucks. I don't know if my taste has changed or if they changed it. It tastes. Okay, so I remember the first time my grandmother had Annie's macaroni and cheese, and she threw it away because she said it was so salty she couldn't eat it. And for my taste, it was perfectly salted. And then fast forward to like, I don't know, 5 years ago, Brian was making a box of Annie's macaroni and cheese. He salted the water before putting the pasta in, and that just completely tipped the scales and made it so salty and inedible. Now I'm finding that I have to add salt to Annie's macaroni and cheese. It tastes watered down, and maybe my salt tolerance has gone up or something is wrong with my palate, but yeah, it doesn't taste the same. New Bluebell flavor alert. It's not new, but it's back and it's limited time. Homemade in the shade. I think this might be my new favorite flavor. I say that every time I try a new flavor, but I actually just went to the store yesterday and bought two more. I actually bought all of them, which was two, and they're in my chest freezer. They So I guess it's the same as Tin Roof. I've never tried the Tin Roof because it has peanuts in it. But it's Tin Roof without the peanuts. It's vanilla ice cream with fudge. And sometimes that can just be a letdown, but people say that Bluebell has the best vanilla ice cream. And I don't care about vanilla ice cream. I don't want to eat a bowl of vanilla ice cream. For me, the ice cream is about what's in it. But I will say there is something about the vanilla ice cream that is really lovely, and I get the hype. And the fudge is really deep and rich, and is somewhere between a jarred fudge that you would get and microwave and pour over your ice cream and the magic coating that you would get at a Dairy Queen that they dip your cone into, the chocolate shell. Magic shell, that's what it's called, right? It's that oil-based chocolate that I love, that cheap oil-based chocolate, like Palmer's. Have you ever had their like Easter candy with that weird rabbit? I mean, I think their logo is just a rabbit year round, but they make oil-based chocolate and you put it in your mouth and it dissipates immediately. It's like why like cheap oil-based chocolate chip cookies or brownies are so good from the box mix or like mass produced. I don't know, there's something about the oil. I know butter is king, but something about an oil-based dessert or chocolate. I love it. Okay, so I was making stock this day. Now that I go into the office, it's really hard for me to make my giant batches of stock. I have a huge stock pot, and I'll take chicken carcasses. I have multiple huge Ziploc bags in my freezer, and anytime I'm cutting up an onion or a carrot or chicken, all the leftovers go into these bags. When run out of stock, I make a big batch. It takes a couple days though, because I want to let it go overnight and then I want to let it cool before I put it into the plastic container so I'm not making plastic soup. And so I had to start it on Saturday. And I tried storing my stock in glass bottles, glass jars. I know that you need the straight edge, you need the straight lipped mason jars for freezing. You can't do the curved ones, but they would just crack a lot. So I went back to deli containers, restaurant style. But yeah, so I poached a whole chicken in the stock, which was super onion heavy. It's such a dark stock. I used to actually make onion skin dyes in this pot, and it's so stained. But yeah, it was a super dark. Um, yeah, man, I wish I hadn't given it away, but I collected so many onion skins. I made an onion skin dye. I dyed all this fabric, and I made an onion quilt, and I sold it for a couple $1,000s to this girl. It was entirely handmade. It's probably worth a ton more, and I wish it was an applique. I wish I had not given it to her, sold it to her. I hope she loves it. Anyway, I removed the poached chicken and I made chicken salad. I made like a Duke mayonnaise, Dijon, chive. Did I do capers? I don't remember. Some red wine vinegar. Mixed that all together and poured it over the chicken, salt and pep, and and some jalapeno infused olive oil, which is called pizza sauce. I forget the brand. I wonder if the brand is called pizza sauce. Pizza sauce. Okay. July 27th, 2025, Sunday. 8:30 a.m. Brooklyn Lab coffee with half and half, made at home. 10 a.m. Leftover chicken salad, romaine lettuce, pickled banana peppers, and jalapeno olive oil over a slice of olive oil toasted sourdough, made at home. 2 p.m. A chicken quesadilla, cheese curds, and a Cajun chicken wrap from Cookout in Creedmoor, North Carolina. 3:30 p.m. A small bowl of Bluebell homemade in the shade ice cream. 6 p.m. Tofu, cabbage, jalapeno, carrot, onion, and green pepper in golden sauce over jasmine rice and a cup of Earl Grey tea made at home. Chicken salad for breakfast with pickled banana peppers over it was lovely, and that jalapeno olive oil. It just tastes like a northern Italian, not northern Italian, northern United States Italian deli sandwich. It tastes like the oil and vinegar with the pepperoncini, and it just has that Italian deli flavor that is so lovely. Maybe you noticed that I didn't go to Cookout on Friday. I thought I need to stop doing this. I'm going to die. Brian suggested that we go to Cookout on Sunday, which was a dream come true. I finally tried the Cajun chicken wrap, which is like the McDonald's snack wrap. It's very small. It has a lot of nice vinegary hot sauce in it and Cajun seasoning. It's a crispy chicken strip with lettuce and cheese. It's just like the snack wrap for McDonald's. It's good. And then I made, tofu, cabbage, vegetables over rice again for dinner, but mostly meal prep. We weren't really hungry for dinner. So I've been frying my tofu, but I recently switched to not frying it because I could fry it, but what I like to do is buy the tofu, freeze it, unfreeze it, freeze it again, and it creates that sponge texture where it really absorbs the sauce, and then you fry it and it just becomes a really great crispy sauce sponge. But that's kind of a lot of, when you need tofu right then, it's not ideal. So I've been cutting up tofu, boiling it in salt, and just tossing it in. And I think that might be what I do moving forward. I think it's really great. And I've been making a brown sauce, but really it's a golden sauce now. I usually get this aged soy sauce to add to my brown sauce, and it really makes it brown. And I could add other things to make it brown, but I got a new soy sauce. It's not that aged stuff. It doesn't really make the sauce super brown anymore. So it's more of a golden. It turns out to be more of a golden sauce, and the aged soy sauce is nice because that dark soy sauce is nice because it's not so salty. It's more depth and flavor. This other soy sauce I have is more just straight up salt flavor. So I think I need to go back to that aged soy sauce. Um, and I like to make or use my stock for this. And it was nice that I had this warm stock that was cooling down. So I could just put sugar and MSG and, what other flavorings I had at the bottom of a Pyrex mixing glass, and then ladle my warm stock over it. And then it just all dissolved. And um, it was a nice way to make brown sauce. Usually I'm defrosting a frozen um, stock and then trying to mix sugar into it, it never quite dissolves. But um, yeah, made the rice 1-to-1 ratio with rice. That's what I learned at Mission Chinese. If you want that nice, sticky, almost semi-dry Chinese style rice, you got to do a 1-to-1 ratio. I've never made good rice with a 2-to-1 ratio. I never have understood that. And I growing up in New England, you don't eat rice. At least my family didn't. So I never knew how to cook rice. I never watched my mom make rice. And they always tell you 2-to-1, use double the water. And I could never make rice until I worked at Mission Chinese. And no matter what rice I cook, I use a 1-to-1 ratio, and it always turns out perfectly. What else do I want to say? I mean, this is getting kind of long. I could keep going, but I think I'm going to end it there. Boiling tofu in salted water is the way to go, I think. That was always recommended in we didn't do it. I don't think we did it this way at the restaurant, but if you have the Mission Chinese cookbook, they tell you in the mapo tofu recipe to boil the tofu in salted water, then put it in. And I always skip that, but I think I might actually do that because it does give it a nice texture. But I don't know if we did that at the restaurant. I think we might have not. But yeah, I get the extra firm tofu from Whole Foods, which used to be $169. They just raised it to $199. I mean, that's the thing. That's the nice thing about Whole Foods. It's crazy expensive, but there's some things that are cheaper than Food Line. $169 for organic tofu. You cannot find that anywhere else. You still, $199 is cheaper than anywhere else. But it does have such a silky texture by the time you take it out and cook it through with a sauce. It's so silky. All right. I'll leave it there. And thanks for listening. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.